The votes are in, it's time to see what this town is meant to be. Together strong we'll cast our say, build tomorrow from today. Side by side we make the call, every voice it counts them all. A team of hearts with plans to share, for every soul we're standing there. It's in the ballot, it's in our hands. Together we rise and take a stand. For every dream, for every need, community spirit is our creed. The vote is here to pave the way, working hard both night and day, delivering hope, delivering dreams. We are the ones who fuel the streams. Every corner, every street, we bring the change that makes us meet. Hand in hand we hold the flame, together we'll make a lasting name. It's in the ballot, it's in our hands. Together we rise and take a stand. For every dream, for every need, community spirit is our creed. The vote is here to pave the way, working hard both night and day, delivering hope, delivering dreams. We are the ones to fuel the streams. Every corner, every street, we bring the change that makes us meet. Hand in hand.
Good afternoon. Welcome to It's in the Ballot. I'm your host, Nick Hollander, and we are at the Raumati Beach Bowling Club, and it is a wonderful venue. And we have with us 5 candidates vying for your vote for the Raumati Community Board. All right. We are back. All right. Let's start off with candidates. That's what I was about to say. Was candidates' opening statements. And using my random name generator, we're going to start with Zelda.
Kia ora koutou. My name's Zelda Edwards. I should be using my microphone. Kia ora. My name's Zelda Edwards. I'm standing for the community board because I love this community. My background is working in arts funding. I used to help run the Kakano funding for the arts for the New Zealand International Fringe Festival. I also ran $1 million budgets at the New Zealand Film Commission, running professional development for filmmakers and initiatives to connect us overseas. And so some of your lovely films that you see now are thanks to the wonderful people supporting those people. I'm here because I just want to get involved. I think it's such a wonderful time and we've got so much to celebrate here, but there's more we can do with science, innovation, technology, our sports fields. But most importantly, we just want to leave something for our children and grandchildren. We want to leave behind a legacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zelda. All right, Sulu, you're up.
Talofa lava and kia ora. My name is Fia Sulu Fiti. I'm from Raumati Beach. Sorry, Bird just got on my site there. So I moved here in 2018 with my wife from Wellington. And the plan was to move here and then flick our house off and move back to Wellington. But we absolutely love it here. And this is what we call home. And for myself, for joining or putting myself up for the community board is about wanting to give back to the community. In Samoan, there's a word called tautua, and that's service, and that typically means service to God, but in this case, it's also service to community. And so a big part of this is wanting to give back to the community, which we now call home. So I have 2 young children here in Raumati Beach, and I couldn't think of a better place to bring up my children. And I want to be part of that and part of doing the great work which the board has been doing in the past triennium. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Next up, Tanya.
Hi, my name's Tan. I'm currently on the Raumati board now, and I love it. It's been an amazing 3 years. It's gone really fast. A little bit about me. I'm a mother of 2 children. I live in Raumati Beach. My background is in arts, and I also used to teach children first aid and look after 4,000 volunteers for St John, Cymru, Wales. Also got a bit of a background in building, which is quite good because in my spare time, apart from, well, what spare time I do have, I like to restore furniture. I'm pretty outgoing. I'm always up for a challenge. I like pretty much everything in life. I like to get involved, and I like to bring people along with me for the ride. I loved my council work. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot to take in. There's a lot to do, and it's really great giving back to the community who helped me a few years back. And I just want to do what's good for our community, because basically we all love Raumati. We wouldn't be here if we weren't. And as like Zelda said, you know, we want to make it better for our children and for our grandchildren when we have them. So yeah, thank you very much.
Well said, well said. All right, next up, Fiona.
Kia ora, my name is Fiona. I've previously been a councillor and previously been the chair of the old Paparamu Raumati Community Board. About 6 years ago, I had to stand down, unfortunately, for personal reasons, but those reasons have changed, and so now I'd like the opportunity to serve my community again. I've lived in Raumati for over 20 years now. I have a small business with now 1 employee based in Raumati Beach, 2 children who have grown up and gone through Raumati Beach School and Kapiti College. In terms of my background and what I can offer, my training is as a lawyer. I currently work as a family lawyer and have previously worked as a tax lawyer, which was a little different. That means I've got a good financial understanding and a good legal understanding. So in terms of the practical, really boring stuff that actually still has to be done, I'm quite good at that. But in terms of the community board, that's really about relationships. And I'm really proud to live in Raumati. I really enjoyed building relationships last time I was involved, and that's the focus I'd have going forward with the community and the councillors. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona. Tim.
I was guessing it might be me.
Was it you and me?
And I'm not Zelda. I'm Tim. I first of all want to start by acknowledging the wonderful candidates here with me. You're all fantastic, as are the other 3 that aren't here. And I think you, the people of Raumati, are very lucky in the choice that you have. I would love to be re-elected again. I've served on the community board for the last 3 years, and I'm very proud of the achievements that we have achieved. But I also really want to give back to this community. I moved back after living overseas and working in international development for more than 25 years. I moved back to Raumati, and this community really welcomed me, and I have loved the experience of being on the community board and getting to know the community and how this works. If I have a slogan, I want us to engage better, I want us to do better, and I want us to be heard better. We have a real job to make sure that Raumati's voice is heard in what is going on in council and other community processes. So thank you.
Thank you very much, candidates. I feel really lucky being here in Raumati with such a good group of people running. I don't think we can do too wrong. So, with that, we will move on to the next part of the show, which is our box questions. Now, we do this slightly differently, being the community board show. There are 10 questions. Each candidate. Oh, there are 9 questions.
Yeah, no, we dropped one of them because it was too complicated.
Okay, I might make one up. Keep them on their toes. All right, I won't, don't worry. Each candidate has 1 minute to answer the question, and yeah, pretty simple. So let's start off. I will choose the questions just to keep it easy, shall I? All right, yeah, here we go. Candidates, choose a box number, 1 to 9.
Fiona, you're nearest. You choose first.
It won't be those ones though anyway.
Just 1 to 9.
1 to 9. Well, we'll start with 1 because that's a good place to start.
I like you. Keeps my job easy. I for indigo. How can the community board contribute to civil defense and emergency management in our area?
And so the fact that you're looking at me makes me think that this is one of my questions.
Well, you can start.
So I'll start, yep. I said in my opening statement that community boards are about relationship building, and I think that that's a really important part of civil defence as well. In an emergency, it's not a situation where we have a government who's going to be able to step in and help right away, so it's important to know your neighbours, and community boards can help with creating neighbourship feeling and making sure that people actually know that the neighbourhood, for example, our community hub is up at the church opposite Raumati Beach School, and getting that information out there and getting the community prepared to actually help ourselves and help each other is really important. And I think that's the way I see the community board's role.
Thank you very much. All right, Sulu.
Same question.
Different answer.
Same question.
Oh, maybe.
When people ask me what makes Raumati Beach great, I say to them that it reminds me of what Wellington used to be like. And I know my neighbours. You're my neighbour, Nick. You live across the road from me. I know most of the people in my street, and we have regular barbecue catch-ups and so forth. So it's about connecting with the people around you. And I can see the community board being a great proponent of that, for making people more engaged with each other. And it's not going to be a hard sell, because if I go by our street, then it's an easy thing to do, because we're really quite connected here.
Thank you very much. All right, Tim.
So the community board, as Fiona and Sulu have said, plays a really important role in helping communities connect. But the community board also plays a really important role in connecting the community with the people that have statutory responsibility for response, civil defence, etc. We do have 2 hubs in the Raumati area. We have at least 1 person who is working on resilience, if you like, and working with community groups, and we need to do more of that. But it's really important that we are linking upwards to the council, to the services they provide in the Greater Wellington Regional Council, because there's trainings and all sorts of stuff that comes down to the community, and we really need to, as a community board, be a conduit for that, a facilitator of that work. It's really important, and making sure that those hubs are kept up to date. And it's great that in the last triennium, the water tanks were installed in those hubs so that we have, potable water supply in an emergency. Great work. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Tanya.
Well, no one likes to think that a national emergency is going to happen. So I'd like us all to be prepared as best as we can. Respect people. Get to know your neighbours like that, like my colleagues have said. To get everyone involved. Get the schools involved. Like everyone knows what to do in an emergency. Like most children know what to do in an earthquake. Why can't we add that into the curriculum? Get kids involved, so we all sort of know our roles. As Tim said, get the council. Obviously, they're involved, but make everything open and transparent so we all know what to do. And if it happens. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Tanya. And Zelda.
I agree with every single thing that everyone has said here. These are all important things. And I think the key is actually thinking ahead, planning ahead. One of my previous roles was at GNS Science, and part of GeoNet, while I worked in crisis communications. So about 4 years ago, we had a triple tsunami threat to New Zealand. That was one of the biggest days of my life working as a comms specialist. I think dealt with about 80 different requests internationally while working with scientists and working how we get there and then calling a national emergency. Lots of people laughed because when they saw photos of the tsunami, this big, but actually, as our response as a whole country, we did an incredible job and we should do that again. So the main thing is thinking about our most vulnerable, our disabled people, and those people who maybe are our neighbours but we haven't met yet. That's who we need to look after.
Thank you, candidates. All right. Collectively, I'll get you to choose another box number. One is gone.
I think it's your turn. Yeah, your turn.
Iwa.
I know. Hey, I am not channeling quite as well as I could, but hey, no need to apologize. We're all friends here. All right. Yeah. Sam does it better. Yeah, but it actually does better both. Yeah. Anyway, D for Delta. How willing are you to work with local hapu and iwi at a community board level? And we'll start with Sulu.
Well, easy question, easy answer. I'm very willing. I don't see any other answer. It's about community, and iwi and hapu are part of the community, and we should be listening to them, and they're a part of us. So I'm very willing to work with local hapu and iwi at a community level. I think it's important. It's important that we canvass every sort of, part of society. And yeah, it's a very easy question, to be honest. I'd be surprised if everyone doesn't want to work with iwi and hapu. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. These are not designed to catch people out or make them look bad. So, and with that, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very easy question, but doing it is a little bit harder.
Your microphone, those at home won't be able to hear.
Thank you. Sorry for those at home.
They forgive you.
The answer to the question is very simple. It's a yes. The doing of the answer is a little more complicated. And it's one of the things that I've been reflecting on as I decided to stand again for the community board. I think we actually need to be a little bit more purposeful. We can't expect things to just happen. And we as a community board moving forward, I hope we do really think through how we want that, how we purposefully engage. And I think some of the answers to that will come through exploring together with iwi and hapu. But in my head, I think some of the key issues that we will engage around will be in the environmental issues. And I think about the work that we want to do, that we've started with the Wharimoko stream and the Whariroa area stream as well. Those waterways are so important to our community, and particularly to Māori people. So I really do want to be purposeful about this moving forward.
Zelda.
Absolutely, but also it's no problem because I already am as a human and as an artist and as a filmmaker. Long before we had to fight for toitu te tiriti, it was just how we operated as artists because they're mana whenua. So often, you know, some people and some friends of mine can get a bit freaked out about it, but it could be as simple as, you know what, turn up, say hello, say kia ora, get involved and plant some trees. And guess what? You're actually going to have a really good time. You might even get a free sausage too. So you don't have to be perfect. If you don't speak te reo Māori, that's okay. But you can support good kaupapa, and that kaupapa actually supports us all. And if you go up to Otahonga, you actually see we've just planted out that berm, and it's never looked so beautiful in such a long time. And that's preserving our wildlife, it's preserving our fish, and also, you know, our kids can run through there and enjoy it. So it's not that hard, really.
Thank you, Zelda. Fiona.
So again, I think it's a no-brainer. For me, when I was on the community board, it was really important to be consulting with all groups and working with all groups, and hapu and iwi are important parts of our community. One area that hasn't been mentioned in terms of the engagement, I think would be important both at a community board and I'd be pushing for at a council level, is looking at a local alcohol policy. I was previously the chair of the district licensing committee, and one of the most challenging things I had to do was approve a liquor store in Otaki against the community's wishes. And I think that's an example of a situation which we need to be able to change. The community needs to have a say in what they have been put into their community, such as liquor stores. At the moment, without a local alcohol policy, there's a limit to what the district licensing committee can do. And I think that's an area that I'm sure Hapu and Iwi want to engage with, and the community as a whole would benefit from that.
Thank you, Fiona. Tanya.
Without a doubt, in an ideal world, we wouldn't have these questions because everyone would be treated with respect and it wouldn't be needed. But I would like to encourage any kind of partnership with anyone, really. It doesn't really sort of, well, it does matter, but you know, I just like everyone to be kind and be thoughtful and, you know, and help each other along. And if people are unsure about iwi or anything like that, we could help, you know, sort of bring a bit more understanding out there, or I don't know, take you to the marae or something where everyone's really welcoming. So it's, again, it's about respect and respecting of people and their relationships. Thanks.
Thank you, Tanya. One of the things I like about these simple questions is how the candidates expand on them and give their own, you know, personal take on it. Yeah, thank you very much. All right, let's move on to our next question. We've had you two. Zelda, how about you choose?
I will go Te Kaumatoru.
What's number for this show?
Up to,
Up to 9.
Aw,
and 1 and 5 are gone.
all right. Rima?
A for Alpha. What will be your preference for new street names to be based on the Raumati Community Board area? For example, former mayor names gifted from local iwi. And we will start with Tanya.
Anything really that's to do with Kapiti, some history would be good. Anything that sort of represents Kapiti as a whole, or ideally it would be pretty cool if we can have like an informal poll on some sort of social media where the community can have their say, and we all sort of work together on that sort of buzz, so there could be no sort of people who can't say the name if it's Māori or if it's or in English, or let people have their own sort of you know, they can put a name forward maybe that we're all got to say, you know, all our voices matter. But ideally, yeah, it'd be something to do with Kapiti's history. It'd be great.
Thank you. All right, Fiona.
So the way that this has been done in the past in terms of the policy that the council has limits what the community board can do in terms of choosing names. But one thing that I did take a stand on previously is naming streets in relation to the developers who've undertaken the development. That is something I've previously voted against. I'm not a fan of naming streets after property developers. And so that's in terms of what I've actually done. In terms of the names for the local area, my preference would be things that are linked to Raumati where possible. I think we've got to be careful not to necessarily say that we'll have specific names, you know, gifted from local iwi or former mayor names, because each little area will have its own unique character and its own unique characteristics that should be built into those names. And much as I like the community as a whole having a say on it, I think we're going to be limited when we're talking about little subdivisions that go in. It's a bit different to the situation with the state highway, which I really don't think we want to go into today.
I must say I much prefer New Zealand street names to American ones. They're a little more interesting, especially ones from the big city. All right. Tim.
Yeah, I really agree with that developers' names should not be street names. And also Kim and other mayoral candidates in the room, I'm sorry, I'm not really a big fan of former mayors lending their names to streets. I'm sorry about that. So, yeah. But honestly, I think the name should be of significance to the people that live in the area. And I'm all for names gifted by iwi. I'm all for names that relate to things that are of significance to our community. So I haven't been involved in street names. I have been involved in making sure that Leankeel Reserve in Raumati South had its name recognised, and I think that's been really important. But the role of the community board, I guess, is to canvass ideas and get input from people. And if that opportunity arises, I would hope that we would do that well.
Thank you, Tim. Zelda.
Well, first, I think it's mana whenua's decision whether they want to get involved or not. And then I think that first, then community. And I like the idea as well of working with other people that are significant. But it can be hard, but sometimes it's not actually that hard. I know Paikakariki are doing a lot of work to remedy this and update street names. There's lots of places around the Greater Wellington region, you know, like Rimu Tuckets that are incorrectly named. So there could be a way of honouring mana whenua, honouring, you know, our wonderful artists, sports people, people who have made a significant impact. Absolutely. But it doesn't necessarily need to be that harsh. But it's something that we could definitely celebrate. And there's not enough history actually shared here. There is such a rich history. So it's an opportunity to rectify that and celebrate it. Point out on street names, be proud of it. Thank you.
Sulu.
I think we did miss, I will bring up the old state highway. I think we did miss a trick there by not naming it a Māori name. And I'm a fan of Te Reo, and I'm a fan of it being used in the community. It just helps to break down barriers in terms of people learning how to pronounce Te Reo. Also, I'm a big fan of honouring those in the community and having their names as a street name and so forth. But yeah, I'm a fan of, as far as progressing our culture forward and Te Reo, having it in the community and being an enabler for people to not be so fearful of Māori. When I heard Tim before talking about engagement with Māori being a difficult thing, and it is difficult, but it just comes down to being respectful and, you know, dignity and those sorts of things. So all these little things help in the long run.
Thank you, Sulu. All right. Next box question, Tim.
7. Eight. Sorry, I wasn't listening.
That's all right. That's all right. J for Juliet. Okay. I messed up and I pressed the wrong question. So we will, oh, wait a minute. No, I didn't. We are having a problem with the Stream Deck. So I will read it out. Second.
Shouldn't be J in there at all.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. That's right.
No J.
8. Here we are. Here we are. Sorry. Multiple buttons highlighted at once. Anywho, so how accessible is the current community board, and what steps would you take to improve its accessibility if needed? Tim?
Yeah, I'm picking up my microphone and we can start the clock. I'm quite proud of the last community board's way that they have engaged with the community and made themselves accessible to the community. I think we have been a great example, and so I'm very proud of that. I think we can do better, and I think, you know, we have, I can think of examples, and I'll talk about them in another question, where we have reached out to the community and actively sought to engage them and organised public meetings, etc. But we also need to be able to meet people where they are. And so I'm so grateful to the many members of the community that turn up every 6 weeks to our community board meetings, and I thanked them the other night for doing it. But we also need to find ways to engage with people where they are and to be able to bring issues of importance to them where they are and listen to them express how they wish to express. We can be that link upwards and outwards, but I think we can do better, but I think we've done very well.
Tanya?
I agree with what Tim just said, all of it. Yeah, I think we could do a bit better. I would like to see like a variable sign, I think, or a big sort of community board in Raumati, like the one they've got in Raumati South. I think it's great, and I know that a lot of people use it. With the variable board, it would be great if we could somehow tap into the colleges one, because it is just there, and that way everyone who sort of drives past, because they can see what's coming up, what community board meetings are coming up, or what events are happening in our local area. And since we haven't got any newspapers anymore, and some people don't use the internet, so trying to get that information out there is key, really, to getting involved and making people feel heard in the community. Thanks.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you, Tanya. Sulu?
Yeah, as others have said, there is probably room for improvement. I think as the community changes and we're getting a younger demographic coming through, there may be scope for maybe live streaming and getting more on social media and those sorts of things, just to engage with others in communities. I went to my first one, admittedly, a few days ago, and in the room there are only a couple of young people, and I think there are some of the children of some of the candidates, but it'd be great to see some more mix and variety of people that are, you know, attending these either in person or online.
Thank you. Fiona?
So I think that the current community board is really accessible to those people who know about the community board and what it does. And I'd imagine that most of the people here, because you have known enough to turn up to a meeting about elections, have probably got a pretty good idea about community boards. I think the big challenge really for the community boards is engaging with the people who don't know what community boards do and what they are. In Kapiti, we're extremely lucky to have 5 community boards covering the entire area. Previously, when I wasn't chair of the Paparamu Raumati Community Board, I was also on the national executive for community boards, and most community boards in New Zealand do not get that level of support that we do here. I agree that one of the things we need to look at is engaging younger people. I would be keen to see communication and a relationship built between the youth council and community boards, and possibly even looking at what we can do with schools, because as young people grow up, that's when they get involved in local democracy, and that's really important.
Zelda.
I think you've done a great job, and it's so great to see such a wonderful audience out here tonight. I think we can definitely do a lot better. I think while they may be accessible for some, you've either got to have time or the resource to be able to turn up. If you're a working mum and you've got, say, an autistic child that's non-verbal, and you're also working in the disability sector, it's really hard to come out to an evening meeting. I mean, it's even hard just with my walking stick. I get scared of tripping up or falling and ending back and needing surgery. I think there's a lot more we can do in this space. When I worked in the consumer engagement team for Te Tahu Haora, the Health Quality and Safety Commission, we set up the Consumer Health Forum Aotearoa. Now, we had people, older people, disabled people, we had people all over New Zealand. We made sure that we had opportunities for face-to-face, but also online meetings and online portals, so people could also anonymously engage. There's a lot of potential there to use tech for good.
Thank you, Zelda. All right, next round. Sorry, a little bit lost here, but I think, no. Tim, wasn't it?
That was me last.
That was you last. Yeah. There we go. Live and dreaming, dead and remembering. Tanya. We have not. G for golf. Not with Trump. That was for you, Sam.
I don't think he'll sit there and come to any of the golf course in the Kapiti Coast. That
Oh.
would be more reliable style.
Debatable. What would your role entail in overseeing the planning, regulation, and implementation of traffic parking signage and related policy changes, including community consultation processes? And Tanya.
First off, I would talk to the community about their needs, what was needed, like Della Margaret Road. I think it'd be better if that was one way. It's a bit of a nightmare to sort of negotiate driving around there. Yeah, talk to the relevant people in council and find out, what's doable and what's not. Like if we've got a big event coming up, we could help sort of plan it, but ideally just talk to the community and then talk to the relevant people in council about getting it done. Thanks.
Thank you, Tanya. And I must say, I remember a really neat event that we had in the Raumati, actually around here, one night. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Oh, the nights.
Yeah. All right, Tim.
Yeah, the role of the community board is important, but it is also limited in terms of the wider traffic regulations. The council has a role, the Greater Regional Council has, Wellington Regional Council has a role, but national government has stepped in and taken over much of that that responsibility by legislating that councils aren't really able to set local speed limits. But there are things that we can do, and I remember very well the discussions that we facilitated around loading zones in the village, etc., moving bus stops, extending the 30k zone in front of schools, and that's been an ongoing thing for the community board. But there are the little things as well. We have streets that are used by that have no footpaths, and we don't want them to have footpaths, but they are used by people walking their dogs, cars, bikes, etc., getting down to the beach. And really, there are things that we can do to make those better. And I've sat on one of these with the council to make sure it happens, and it is happening in Arawa Street in November. But putting in a speed hump there that the community has already erected signs to say slow down, shared zone on our own bat. And these are things that we can do to make our streets safer.
Zelda.
I agree with all of that. I think it's great. I think our role is to be advocates for our community. It's so that everyone doesn't have to go through the legislation. We can talk to councillors. We can find out where the scope is, what we need to do, and feed back to our community. But I just think it's wonderful. I think we need more slow zones around, because I don't know if anyone else has noticed in the last couple of years, it used to be really nice and quiet, but we've had lots of people raging down our street. And ours is one of those beautiful streets as well, with no footpaths. And we do love it, and we don't want that to change. But it's working out where to from here, because it isn't accessible, especially if you're in a wheelchair. It can be quite dangerous. So there's definitely a lot of food for thought there.
Thank you, Zelda. Sulu.
Again, just echoing what everyone says, just communicating and talking to the community as well, being a voice for the community. Those are the main things.
Now, we've had such good, I'm very sorry, Fiona. I'm easily distracted. Your turn.
Now I feel like I've got to come up with a great piece of gold answer to make up for being pointed out like that. But really, it comes back to community consultation, as the question says, because community boards are about consulting with the community and making sure that that community feedback is heard at the council level and given the weight it deserves, which is, you know, a lot of weight when it's the community talking. It's also a balancing act, because when you're talking about things like parking, you'll find that one person's idea of what's perfect is another person's idea of what's not. So part of that is also giving both views to council and making sure that they're fed through so that everyone really gets a say and everyone feels heard in the process.
Thank you. Sorry, I apologize again, Fiona. That's on me. Now, back to what I was saying. We have had such good answers from all our candidates that we are running a bit low on time, so we won't be able to do all the questions, but we will go on to our hard-hitting community board question. Hold on. Okay, pressing buttons. Okay, so it was. Let's try that. Haha, victory. All right, bit of teamwork.
Oh, that's a very different question to what it should have said.
That's what I thought. So let me, Pam, would you like to, you wrote it so eloquently.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what happened. It's been
Okay,
Stacey would read it.
okay, then I can read that.
Yeah.
A Maori constituency for the Greater Wellington Regional Council, Te Upuko o Te Ika a Maui, is being established for the 2025 election alongside the Kapiti Coast Maori Ward. How would you ensure meaningful collaboration with Mana Whenua and support Maori leadership in regional planning and service delivery? And I would like to apologize if my pronunciation was a bit American. Zelda.
Well, for me, it's the relationships I hold already that have been going on ever since I was born. I'm not Maori, but those relationships carry on through years and years. And those that I don't know, I will start a relationship with them. It comes down to collaborations and relationships and listening and upholding tikana. And if you're doing those things, then that will get you a long way. And basically, we just should be doing this anyway. It should just be normal, right? Maori is normal. This should be normal.
Thank you, Zelda. Tanya.
Well, like any relationship, with respect and open and be honest, by building a relationship with with anyone. I think those things are important. And I think again, it should be like making everyone feel like they have a voice and making them feel involved, and they shouldn't be afraid to come up and say anything. But again, it just boils down to respect. You know, it doesn't matter if you're Māori or white or pink. You know, it's about being respectful and understanding. Thank you.
Fiona.
At the risk of sounding like a broken record, it comes back to relationships. The community board does need to have a relationship with the regional council, which can be done by working with the local regional councillor. And having that relationship means that you can actually help support the relationship between mana whenua and the regional council in that way. I think it's also important to not answer this question in a way of saying, well, how do I think it should happen? Because when you're talking about engagement with a group, and particularly with mana whenua, the question should be, how do mana whenua see that happening and how can we support it? Because it's very easy for me to turn around and say, well, this is how I think it should be done. But the first question you actually need to ask is, how does everyone else think it needs to be done? And that applies to any group you're working with, because I'm going to have a particular set of views. As has been referred to today, there's people with special needs, such as health needs. If I swoop in and decide something should be done my way, people are going to miss out. So I think the first question to be asking is, how do people want to be engaged with? And that's important for mana whenua as well as the community as a whole.
All right, Sulu.
Yeah, it's difficult to add much more to that. Everything's been very well said. I would say that it's there's no real fear in any of this. It's humans talking to humans. You know, there's a cultural aspect to that, but still, it's really just people talking to people. That's all it comes down to in the end. So, if you're, as people have said, being respectful, honoring people's dignity, and those sorts of things, then we'll get on fine. It'll be fine in the end.
Last but certainly not least, Tim.
Well, maybe least, but this really is about, as everyone said, respect, honesty, bringing an openness to these relationships. But I've actually thought about this question a little bit as I was preparing for this, and it's at the first phase. How do we ensure meaningful collaboration with mana whenua and support Māori leadership in regional planning and service delivery? And it kind of challenged me because the community board doesn't really have an enormous role in regional planning or in service delivery, but it's about facilitating those conversations in a way that is respectful and is equal. And my mind went to the work, and I've referred to it before, but some of the work we're doing and supporting in the community through the community board around our waterways and our coastline. And I think those are entry places for us to begin to understand each other and respect each other and engage in a meaningful way.
Okay, now, we're going to do closing statements. Well, of course we're doing closing statements. We have these wonderful candidates. We need to hear what they have to say. So, random generator, and we're starting with Sulu. You have 1 minute for your closing statement.
As most of you have probably guessed by now, I'm Samoan, proudly so. And I knew coming here today that, and looking around the room, that I would be the only Samoan in the room. So I bring a point of difference to this. I was going to say something, but yeah, sure. So I'm very proud of who I am, and my point of difference is that I bring something which is quite different. I look different, I speak quite differently, but I think difference is what we need on the community board. Different points of views, different people, young, old, everything. So that's what I bring to this. So in that respect, I'm a bit of a unicorn, a Samoan unicorn. So giddy up and join me.
Love it, love it. All right. Tim?
Thank you so much. Having sat here with these wonderful fellow candidates, I feel very lucky for you guys because you have a great choice. Whatever you choose is going to be great. These are all exceptional candidates. Why would you vote for me? I don't know. All I would say is that I've really done my best on the community board in the last 3 years. I've learned a lot, and I think I've got a lot more to give. And I think having that experience is going to be really useful for the community board moving forward. I work hard, I focus on things, and I get things done. And when we were doing the facilitating the community's consultation with the CAP process, council said, you're not allowed to run those public meetings. We said, yes, we are going to. I booked the halls, I printed the flyers, I distributed the flyers, I organized people to come, and people came. And that's what you get with me. I'm going to do stuff, and I'm going to make sure that we follow through on things.
Tanya?
I would just like to thank you guys all for coming this afternoon. It's really good that you guys are here to support us and that you're interested in what's happening in Raumati. Thanks to the guys from the Ballot. It's really cool what you guys do. I'd like to be re-elected because I feel like I've only just started. Even though I was elected 3 years ago, I feel like I've still got so much more to do. I've still got loads of energy and ideas, and I really like the community's voices to reach my ears and get involved with me and sort of come along for the ride with me and be the voice and do what's good for Raumati. Raumati's great. I love it. I came back from overseas 10 years ago, and I've lived here pretty much ever since, and I think Raumati is going to get even better and better with more. There's going to be more people, and I want to be involved and make Raumati as good as it can be. Thanks.
Zelda?
Kia ora. Well, you should vote for me because everything's better with Zelda. I had to say it. It's so cheesy. No, seriously, with me, you get a variety of an artist, a dancer, a performer, someone who's written speeches for politicians, someone who's worked as a cleaner, someone who's worked in aged care. I am all these things and more, and I'm just really excited. I hope I'm elected, and there's wonderful candidates here, so there is no wrong choice. Just follow your heart and vote for whoever you see representing you, and I'm just really looking forward to just following on from the wonderful work that you guys have done and continue that on. And there's so many cool projects coming up, like the waterfront project. I'm excited, I'm thrilled. Vote for Zelda. Thank you. Kia ora.
And not to repeat history, Fiona.
So I'm going to end today's wonderful meeting by saying something quite different. I'm not going to tell you to vote for me. I put my name forward as I want to give you the opportunity to vote for me as someone who serves your community. I'm not in this because I want votes. I'm in this because I want to help make Raumati a fabulous place. Well, it's already fabulous. I'd like to actually keep making it even better. So if you want somebody who's going to focus on relationship building, who's going to focus on consultation, who's going to focus on the community being heard and making sure that those voices are heard at the council level, then I'm someone who can work for you. You've got a wonderful selection of candidates here and those who aren't here, so read the information. I'm sure you're all going to. You've all been passionate enough to turn up, and look for the people who are going to do what you want them to do for you. And if I'm that person, that's absolutely fabulous. But if I'm not, then vote for someone else who will. Thank you.
All right. Well, in Raumati here, it is a okay. So in Raumati, it is the knife cuts both ways. We have amazing candidates, so you can't choose wrong. But that is also the problem. Who do you choose when they're all great? So that's up to you. Don't, thank you very much for coming. And thank you, candidates. You were amazing. Thank you, audience. And I'd like to thank Sam. He's man with a plan. And do we have anyone else helping us that I can't see?
Laura?
Laura, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I do better with physical things. All right.
And thank you, Nick, for comparing today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Clap for Nick.
All right, we will be back in 1 minute in 6 minutes with our next show. Yes?